Welcome to Winners, Losers, and Lovers, possibly the most important podcast ever created. Every week we talk about a different movie and we break it down like it's something that actually matters. We look at the stats, the stories, the first reactions, the second thoughts, and whether this movie is an old print, a fresh cut, or an early release. We examine the scenes that stick with us, the quotable moments, the archetypes, the stereotypes, and the tropes Hollywood can't stop using. And of course, the winners, the losers, and the lovers. The things we just can't stop talking about. It's podcast time. So, winners, losers, and lovers. I am Brian. This is Andrew. And remind me, what movie are we talking about today, Andrew?
We're doing Sinners.
Sinners, 2025. An IMDb rating of 7.5, an Amazon rating of 4.6, a tomato meter rating of 97%, budget 90 million, made a whopping 368 million. Directed by Ryan Coogler, stars Miles B. Jordan twice, Miles King, Saul Williams, Delroy Lindo, Hailee Steinfeld, and Jack O'Connell. How about that Harry Potter summary, Andrew?
Harry Potter and the Racist Vampires, or maybe Harry Potter and the Musical Vampires. There we go. I think we'll go with that one.
Harry Potter and the Racist Vampires, or Harry Potter and the Musical Vampires?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Musical Vampires has a kinder, gentler ring to it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I pulled a couple of summaries off of the worldwide interweb.
Mm-hmm.
So the IMDb summary, let's just see what they say. Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. What do you think? Does that hit it?
Yeah, it kind of hits it without spoiling it. You know, hits it without giving it all away.
Then I found this other one on Daily Orange. It was a review. Samuel Popnick is the writer. His summary I thought was kind of interesting. Let's see how it compares to the IMDb. He says it's a sexual drama, romance, a love letter to blues music, a horror movie full of gory vampire action, and a commentary on Jim Crow era racism, all wrapped into one.
Yeah, I can also see that. That also works. It definitely defies kind of your standard genre. Like, yes, it is a big horror movie when you get to it, but that's not how it starts, and that's not really, I think, its defining feature even.
How many times have you seen it?
1.5. I watched it all the way through once, and then I kind of skipped around to a couple scenes the second time.
Okay. And so your first watch was for our pod today?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Me too. It's a movie I had been meaning to see. People told me I would like it. They said it's my kind of movie. And it has been on my list since it came out, since it was in theaters, and I just hadn't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, similarly, I'd kind of picked up on all the buzz. It was on Prime, and it was one of those, like, I kind of want to watch it. I know it's getting good reviews. I know it's getting a lot of acclaim, but, you know, having the pod here kind of got me into watching it, making sure I hit play.
And I want to spoil something right off the bat here, because I did not realize it going into it. I knew it was horror adjacent, but I had no idea it was a vampire movie.
Okay.
So going into it, was not expecting the vampire thing at all. So had no idea that was coming.
Yeah. I think they did a good job of not giving that away early on. In fact, when I was watching it, I remember vampires being associated with it in something that I had read, and getting all the way till when we meet the first vampire, and he's burning in the sun. Until then, I had thought, like, maybe I'm thinking of a different movie. Like, maybe that was something else that I read about the same time as Sinners coming out. And so then when it finally clicked, like, oh, okay, no, it is this movie, but they've just slid it in a little later. It's not up front and in your face with it.
Yeah, and even when we meet Rimmick the first time, when he comes up to the cabin and he's being chased by the vampire hunters, I didn't realize what was going on at that point. So on my I've watched it 2.5 times now. On my first watch, I missed a lot of it just because I didn't realize what was going to happen. So the second time I watched it, I saw how all the pieces put together, how all the pieces were put together of the puzzle, and it made a lot more sense, and I really appreciated about a lot of things that were going on with it. You know, before we were recording, we were talking about some of the other movies nominated for Best Picture. And I think you've seen 1 or 2 of them. I've seen
just a couple.
I've seen 4 of them. I've seen One Battle After Another, Begonia, and Frankenstein. And this is the only one that I see me watching repeatedly. I might catch the others if they're on again, but I don't see them as movies I have a desire to watch again.
Okay. Yeah, and I can see that. Or, revisiting it in a few years and seeing what I think. Or, I think this definitely kind of has that vibe of like, let's watch it again, let's see what it is. Versus some of the other ones that have come out recently. Just, I watched it once, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, I watched this twice. And then, so I watched it initially, then I watched half of it, then I finished that half. And then I was talking to you a day or two ago, and you mentioned the post-credit scene that I completely missed both times. So I went back and watched that today before we recorded. I just, credits came and turned it off. And I think one of the times I left it on in the background and heard music and didn't realize it was a whole nother scene.
I was definitely in that position too, and I was just kind of like, all right, I'm sitting there listening to it, and I was kind of thinking, and then like they kind of returned to the guy at the bar, and let them in, and like, oh, there's more to this. There's one more little scene, and it does. I appreciate that it tied up the loose end, the ambiguity of whether or not. I don't remember which one's which. Whether Smoke killed Stack or Stack killed Smoke.
Stack is the one who's alive at the end. He's the bad.
So. So just that was kind of a neat, like, all right, you are now explaining this thing you left off intentionally. You're filling in, which I appreciated.
Yeah, the ending. It's had some interview with the vampire vibes at the end when they go and visit him. It kind of had an Anne Rice feel to it. I did think that when I watched it today, completely out of context. Just watching that, but I did appreciate it, and I did like what they did there. But did you like the movie?
Yes. Yes, I was entertained. I didn't want to turn it off.
Okay.
There was no moment where I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to stop now and watch the rest later. Like, I really sat and watched it and was engaged throughout it the first time.
And what on your Best Picture list, what else have you seen on there?
The only one I've seen so far is F1.
F1.
And I would definitely rate this higher than F1.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen F1 yet. I do want to see it. It's on my to-do list, but I haven't gotten around to it. The other ones, I think I just mentioned, I've seen Frankenstein, One Battle, and Begonia. And Frankenstein, I kind of want to watch again. I've read the book now 5 or 6 times, carefully, closely. And it's a book that I love the story. I love the concept, but it's a slog. And that's how I felt about the movie. He did such a good job adapting it that it's a slog. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's wonderful. It has all the elements of the book, but it just seemed like so much work to get through. And I tried to give it my full attention, but I just couldn't. And it's so long. I just need to sit down and watch it again, but I don't know when I will get around to it. Maybe if we do it for the podcast.
Yeah. No, this one definitely like totally entertaining, totally engaging. Throughout it, a little slow at the start. I'm kind of like, where is this going? But once the rubber meets the road, it really takes off.
Yeah, is it a Best Picture though?
Having not seen any of the other ones, it's hard to tell. I think it's unique. I think it stands on its own. I think it is doing something that not a lot of other movies do. Which is kind of like, I don't want to say Oscar bait, but it is the kind of like, that should be what a Best Picture is. Like F1 tells a story that we've seen 100 different times. Okay. I'm not knocking it. It was entertaining, but F1 tells a story we've heard before. This is something completely new. The genre bending elements of it were really interesting. The dance sequence was something that was a movie in and of itself in that little 5-minute sequence. Was really interesting. So I would definitely put it up there as like, it should be for consideration.
Okay.
Having not seen any of the other ones, it's hard to say, oh, it's the best, but I definitely think like I can see why people would think it could be Best Picture. Okay,
excellent. Yeah, it's a very good movie. I think it's one of those movies where I need some distance from now, and then I need to watch it again to see how I feel about it long term.
Okay.
Once it became a vampire movie, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And couldn't stop thinking about From Dusk Till Dawn and making those comparisons. While they are very different movies, they follow a similar formula.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on in the beginning. It seems like it's one movie. Then it suddenly becomes a fight for survival with two main characters in a single location, everybody getting killed off one by one while they have to kill the master vampire.
Okay.
Now, this movie has a lot more to it than From Dusk Till Dawn just is, you know, horror, guts, boobs.
Yeah.
And
it's a Tarantino flick, even though he's just in it, he directed it, it's definitely of that vibe.
Yeah, I believe he wrote it, but it's yeah, like you said, it's got that vibe, and the substance, it doesn't pretend to be anything that it isn't. Where this movie has a lot more substance. It's very much a social commentary, it's a historical commentary, and there's a lot of other elements that tie it into the horror genre. And I think that's sometimes when horror works best too, when it is a commentary on something else.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, like, horror can be fun on its own, like an Evil Dead 2 kind of thing, where, like, yes, it is pure horror and it is entertaining in that way, but definitely something like Silence of the Lambs is great because it infuses horror into a thriller story, infuses horror into kind of that different genre and seeing what happens.
Is it horror? Like you mentioned Silence of the Lambs, that's why I asked, because there's plenty of arguments out there about whether or not Silence of the Lambs is actually horror. And it is this horror? I feel like it's more horrific than Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Blood and guts wise.
Well, I think, you know, again, spoilers, but you already know this now. If it has vampires in it, how is it not a horror movie? You know what I mean? Like, can there be a horror movie? Can there be a vampire movie that's not horror exactly?
Well, is Interview with the Vampire horror?
I think it's wrestling with horror ideas.
It's very gothic, and it has horrific moments. As does Silence of the Lambs. There are these horrific moments and definitely horror adjacent elements.
The genre, when I was trying to think of it, was, for Sinners at least, I've thought of as sort of a magical realism in a way. Like, yes, it's horror because it's got the vampires, but it really is this sort of like world that is connected to our world. Yeah. But also it isn't weird that there are vampires outside. Everyone just kind of accepts that.
Yeah. And when the gore starts, it's pretty gory. I mean, it's blood spilling and pooling and it's really it feels, the horror feels real and grounded, even though it is vampires that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think? Is it old print, fresh cut, early release?
I would say fresh cut or maybe early release. Like I think like you're saying, like we need to give some time to it to kind of process it. But I think that's telling that this is a good movie that we do want to continue to think about it. We're walking away and still kind of stumbling along it.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely of the moment. But when you get a movie like this where it feels very authentic in the period, except for that little dance sequence where they kind of have these flash forwards and these moments of, as you said, magical realism, where it feels like we're seeing into the future or something, but it feels grounded in 1938. I think that's when it's supposed to take place. It feels grounded in that era. And, as for an early release, is it ahead of its time? I don't know. I'll have to see 5-10 years. Is it still something that is in the zeitgeist? Is it still something I'm thinking about?
Yeah, I think, too, it might be worth, if I were to rewatch it, I would want to watch it with the lens going back to that opening statement of sort of like, this is a folk story. Yeah. This is sort of a tale. It's not meant to be true, but it's meant to hold a truth within it. Okay.
I like that. So what are some of your favorite scenes in there?
I think, obviously, the dance scene. You can't watch this movie and not go to the dance scene where they're playing the song and you're getting all the different time periods kind of blending together. I don't know if that's a favorite, but it was kind of a cool, again, just something no other movie I've ever seen has done something like that.
Yeah, going into it, I knew it had music, I knew it had horror, but I didn't know how much of a horror movie it was. I didn't know about the vampires. I was under the impression it was a musical. There are musical moments, but it's not like they're breaking out into song and dance where it's part of the story. It's part of the movie and part of their lives. It's not, they're not suddenly dancing down the yellow brick road and singing a song.
Yeah. I liked, we previously talked about it, but some of the play with the vampire tropes of like, do you have to be invited? Like, you've been coming in and out all day. Why don't you just come in now? Like, well, I don't want to come in right now. And so you're sitting there going like, wait, like they're playing this idea that vampires have to be invited in somewhere, but also we're still not sure even at that point, like the characters at least are not sure what's going on.
Yeah.
That was kind of neat.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of one of those stories or movies where they're dealing with vampires or zombies, and the character finally says, "It's vampires." Mm-hmm. Can someone just say it? It's vampires. Mm-hmm. And that's, you kind of have those moments in there too. I like just about every scene Jack O'Connell's in, the guy who plays Remick.
Oh, he's so creepy. He's
so creepy, and he's so, he goes first, he comes off as a kind of a local Southern guy, and then later on his Irish accent breaks out, and you realize, oh, this guy's been around a while. He's from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely was kind of a. Did he get a nomination for supporting actor?
No, he didn't. I was looking. I do have the list later on, but he did not. No,
Okay.
He's in the Bone Temple too, I guess. I haven't seen that yet. 28 years later, the Bone Temple.
Right.
And I'm really excited. I wanted to see that movie anyway, but now knowing he's in it, I'm excited to see it.
Okay.
I like a few of the scenes I really liked, not just his scenes, but I like the scene where Smoke dies at the end. Mm-hmm. I wasn't expecting it. I thought he was going to make it out alive, or at least stumble off into the sunset. The hero, a little ambiguity there. You don't know what's going to happen, but he dies. And it was a really emotional scene. In fact, I forgot that we didn't see him kill Stack. Mm-hmm. So when we do get to that post-credit scene, I forgot that Stack was still alive. I'm like, oh yeah, we saw whatever happened was off screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like poised to do it, and then it cuts away to outside.
Yeah, so that was a really good scene to me. I like that, and the post-credit scene I really did like too. But again, I didn't watch it in context. I watched it just 20 minutes ago.
I also liked the garlic scene where they're passing around the jar of garlic, and similarly, there's that. Okay, are we really doing this? Does this even really work as an anti-vampire thing?
It reminded me a lot of The Thing when they're doing the blood test. And it's the same kind of thing. We're expecting one of them to suddenly be a vampire, but they play it up where nobody is a vampire.
Especially you have the one girl whose name I'm forgetting, I feel bad, the character, and she doesn't want to eat the garlic. What's her name? Scrolling down here. Pearline?
I don't remember I remember the scene. I don't remember which character it is.
But she's just like, I don't like garlic. I don't eat this. And they're like, aha, you're a vampire. Like, no, I'm not. It's just gross. I thought, again, like, it was a nice balance of humor in the face of this, like, it says someone here a monster because we just found a dead body. Yeah. And I thought that was kind of a fun moment, too. Like, dark humor, but when they carry the one body out thinking, oh, there must be a vampire in here. And then later they goes, wait, that's just corn syrup or whatever, or the liquor.
I like the shootout at the end too, although it didn't feel earned to me.
Yeah,
I would have liked you get a sense of it in the beginning when they first introduced that character, but then you don't see him again.
Yeah, I definitely. It felt kind of tacked on. I understood where it was coming from and how, the irony of like you've just defeated all these vampires and now I got to deal with these guys who are much less of a threat. But yeah, interesting that he's just the bookend of the story.
Yeah. So I was surprised that they killed Smoke. I was that did actually surprise me. It seemed like a movie where not that he was a good guy, but he was the protagonist and a relative good guy, and it just seemed like I didn't think he was going to die. That really did surprise me.
Yeah. That and the. I think just the way they incorporated the dance. There's the big one, obviously, in the dance hall, but also the one outside, the vampires dancing to the Rocky Road of Dublin. Yeah. And there's just kind of like a neat, like you had mentioned earlier, this isn't a musical, but you've got to understand music as part of the story here. And that was kind of a cool little reference. You don't see that too often where that just becomes part of it without taking over the
it didn't feel like a musical number. It felt like part of the story, part of the characters.
Yes, like this is what they would be doing outside.
Yes, exactly. They came here to play music. They weren't kidding. So when Smoke dies, I think that also kind of breaks the stereotype and the trope of the hero always winning or the main character breaking away as we work into archetypes, stereotypes, and tropes. All the characters died pretty much except two vampires who we learn later that are still alive, and Sammy, who I guess they're all kind of doing this for him, more or less. They go and pick him up. They say what a wonderful guitar player he is, what a wonderful musician he is, and everybody is standing up for him. But that also didn't. That's probably one of the weaknesses in the movie to me. That didn't feel. I didn't feel any attachment to this character.
Yeah.
We're just suddenly supposed to understand that everybody loves him and will literally die for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, or maybe more just you're supposed to see it through his eyes, so to speak. Like, yes, I think more Stack and Smoke would be the protagonists, but Sammy is our point of view. He's like in Gatsby, he's the Nick Carraway character. He's there the whole time, but it's not really about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he definitely, character development was limited for some of them. Similarly, like the girl, I think it's Perline, like mentions that she's married early on, and then that never comes up ever again, especially in a couple of scenes that I won't get into here. That she's married. That should be a factor here. And
maybe there's an extended cut out there.
Maybe. But that would be kind of like one of those, like, yeah, some of those things were like people said things, but that was the end of the development. It was never actually relevant to the story.
And you do get a lot of those vampire tropes that I guess they fit the story. You get the holy water, the garlic, the sunlight, the stakes, having to be invited inside. So it's pretty standard vampire fare there, sticking to the key tropes. And you get some Southern stereotypes. And I thought the idea of the hive mind was interesting, but I also found it a weakness because they all kept their own personality, but they were suddenly evil without explanation. So they were, as soon as they got bit, they suddenly wanted to kill everybody else. And they understood the rules of the vampire world instantly. There was no acclimating to it. They just, because it was a hive mind, I guess, they just understood but there was no suddenly, I'm feeling what 100 other people are feeling and thinking. No adaptation that they needed, no acclimation. They just were almost equal to Rimmick at that point.
Yeah, I can see that. Interesting. Yeah, I don't, my vampire mythology is fairly limited. I wonder if that has to do with the idea that Rimmick is right there and can, in a way, control them. It's not exactly control, but like he can compel them to do things.
Yeah,
right?
he's clearly the leader because when he dies, they.
Right.
So the sun came up and they all start to burn down. But were they all going to die when he died?
They mention that as something like, yeah, if you kill the head vampire, like that's it. But is he even the head vampire?
Yeah, we don't know. Well, I guess they wouldn't all die because then Stack and the other character would have died.
Right.
Yeah. So. Yeah, there are definitely a few holes in there if you pick it apart too much, and that's where I wonder, with some time away watching it again, will those things be glaring to me, or will I just let them pass on a third watch?
Yeah, I mean, just having been so engaged with it when it was happening, it didn't bother me to think about those things the way some other movies, like you see a plot hole and it makes you stop.
Yeah,
this movie was so engaging and enveloping that there might have been some plot holes here or there, but you just kind of move past them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't force you to question them. I'm happy to accept them in this instance.
Yeah. Like, all right. Well.
Okay. So what do you think? When's the best time to watch this one?
I would say like matinee is like the Everybody Family one, or is matinee? So this probably be more like date night or midnight.
Okay.
Definitely worth watching, worth the time. Not for everyone.
No.
Especially like there's a lot of blood, just a lot of blood, And so if that's not your thing, then you're not going to enjoy that part of it. There are a couple of racy scenes. Nothing. I don't know how to say it, but like it wasn't terrible, but there are a few scenes where like, that's not what you're into if you don't like watching that kind of stuff.
Yeah, some of the sexual scenes were
Yeah.
were pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
I was surprising. I wasn't expecting that at all either.
Right. Stuff that's often more implied
Yes.
was not implied. So that was interesting. But you know, once if you're comfortable enough to watch that with someone, then it's a date night movie because it's entertaining, it's fun to talk about, it's fun to think about.
I was thinking because of the transient nature of these vampires, it'd be a good movie to watch on a road trip.
Yeah.
Road trip or in an RV.
We have to be going from Chicago to the South.
So winners, losers, and lovers. What wins? What loses? What do you love? What wins?
I mean, he's always a winner, but Michael B. Jordan is great.
Yeah.
I wish there was a little more distinction between Smoke and Stack, but it was incredible to see him playing two guys at the same time somehow.
Yes, it did feel kind of unnecessary to me to make them twins, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it would have been better served just to have another actor play Stack
Mm-hmm.
and have it be two separate characters with very distinctly different, not Michael B. Jordan trying to be different. Because I don't feel like they were written dramatically differently. Just
Right.
one's a little edgier and colder than the other.
Right.
But I think it would have benefited by having two separate characters. I think Ryan Coogler is a big winner here. Just he's got a pretty good hot streak going, and Delroy Lindo is always awesome.
Mm-hmm. And who's the other one that pull up the IMDb real quick? Because there's someone else who I thought.
Well, while you're looking up that, I'll just go over. I guess the other winners are everyone who got an Oscar nom. Just the director, of course. Actor Michael B. Jordan, supporting actor Delroy Lindo, supporting actress, screenplay, cinematography, costume design, editing, makeup, sound, visual effects, song, casting, production design. Just an amazing list of credits there. I guess big winner for getting nominated. If we look back at this in a few weeks or months, we might say actually losers if none of them win.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to get 16, so
yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Will that turn some people off, or will that?
I was looking at the betting odds, and right now, one battle after another is the predicted winner for the big category. So we'll see how it all plays out.
Mm-hmm. It was his name is. I just pulled it up and I lost it. Omar Benson Miller, who plays Cornbread.
Oh yeah,
from
8 Mile.
Yeah, he stole that. Any scene that he's in was thoroughly entertaining. So he was one that I think kind of got the win because, you know, looking at the rest of what he's been in a few movies. Like but he's always the background guy in most of them. And even though this one he has a smaller part, he steals the scene every time he's there.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's a couple actors like that. Omar, Delroy Lindo, and it's Jack O'Connell. Mm-hmm. There's a few scene stealers in here. So when you have a few scene stealers, it just makes every scene that much better too. Mm-hmm. And then anything that loses here, anything that didn't work for you?
I think we mentioned the lack of character development or roundness to them. But other than that, and even then, like you're dealing with a movie, you have 2 hours to tell this story. Yeah. Like there just isn't time to you're not doing a mini series, you're not doing an epic, you're doing a 2-hour film. What can you get in there?
But they do give you a lot of characters, and kind of making that Dusk Till Dawn comparison again. It's kind of similar where most of them are going to die, and you're just curious as to how they're going to die. Like Sammy, I would have liked to built up more of an attachment to that character since he's the survivor and the one everybody seems to be fighting for. Delroy Lindo is so likable as an actor that even though you don't get a whole lot of backstory, you get enough with him, and they do spend a lot of time with him before we get to the action. Yes. So you do get some interest in his character. Anything that you just loved about it?
I mentioned earlier the dance sequences were both amazing. And I don't know anything about choreography or anything like that, but they were interesting to watch.
Now, you told me you were going to do a dance for the pod
yeah,
today.
well, just there's not space. Sorry. But yeah, I think taking a risk, making a genre, I want to call it genre blending movie, was something unique and interesting that we don't often see something like this. And so taking a risk and pulling it off successfully is impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I go back to the Remick scenes, the Jack O'Connell scenes. every one of those I loved. And then the first scene, I didn't even realize it was the same character. On my first watch, when he's being chased by the vampire hunters.
Okay.
I didn't realize he was the same character that's trying to get into the club later on.
Okay.
So I didn't make that connection until the second watch. So I just completely missed that and appreciated it even more so. And once it turns into a horror movie, I really liked it. It's fine for everything else that it does, but it does horror extremely well. And let's see, did you do any internet research on this one?
Not too much. I kind of go to I read a few reviews. Like I looked at the review on RogerEbert.com. Did not give it a great review. It kind of said it was kind of, I don't want to misquote it, but it kind of said like, yeah, I had a lot of ideas. They don't really come together. Yeah, that would be the extent of my internet research, was sort of
looking at the reviews.
Looking at that and the Googling just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, when I started doing some internet research, I was surprised to find how divisive this movie is. And that really surprised me, that there's a lot of things in it that people, some of the social issues people took one way or another. Looking at Amazon though, I found a 5-star review and a 1-star review that I thought were worth sharing. This is from Miss Denise. This is a 5-star review.
Okay.
Sinners is a once-in-a-lifetime movie experience. It is so deep, so layered, yet wonderfully entertaining. The acting is great. The music is great, too. The visuals are breathtaking. Ryan Coogler is a genius. I rewatch it all the time, focusing on different people. It is a period piece, and the period was quite vicious for some. However, the movie has a great ending. So she takes it all in and likes it for all those reasons and a lot of what we covered. But let's look at the 1-star review. I don't really know. Osser West. I think something along those lines. 1 out of 5 stars. Depraved, profane, vulgar, morally bankrupt. Sounds like a good start to most horror movies.
Yeah.
Sounds like a 5-star.
Tell me why that's not good.
Sexually depraved, explicit, and gratuitously profane and vulgar movie. Shame on Coogler for writing such a despicable script. If he's responsible for the script, he went from very dignified with Black Panther to the cesspool of depravity. This movie was morally and ethically deplorable. So they really don't like this person. To me, should just stay away from horror movies.
Yeah, well, based on that, like, what did you expect going into it?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I also think like none of those complaints actually say anything about the movie itself. Yeah. Like none of those are criticisms; they are statements. But interesting. Yeah. So then, what would your Amazon out of 5 stars? Where would you put this?
I'd probably give it. My initial reaction would probably be 4 stars. I can't get the comparison of From Dusk Till Dawn out of my head. I think there are a lot of original elements to it, but the basic premise is the same. And I think it does have a few gaps in there. Just some character development that I would have liked to have. Don't get me wrong, it's a highly entertaining movie, and I may watch it again in a month and say 5 stars. I take that back.
Yeah,
but I would say 4 stars for now. What about you?
4.5.
Okay.
Where it's like it's
well, Amazon doesn't let you do halves.
Yeah, I know, but Letterboxd does. So, but I would say 4.5 because it's just a little short of perfect. We've identified some of those little things that, when you think hard about them, don't quite work, but so vastly engrossing that I am okay with them while watching it.
Exactly. And that's where I say I think it works best as a horror movie, because in a horror movie, you just need to give me the premise that I can believe. And then I don't have to question everything else. And this is a movie like that, where when it becomes a horror movie, I can throw away the rest of it and just accept it for what it is. But when they're trying to do too many things in there, it is trying to be a lot of different things. And that's where, the more I break it down, is it a social commentary? What's it saying about the music? What's it saying about the South, the Jim Crow era? What's it saying about the white people with the KKK guys? What's it saying about the community itself? There's a lot going on where it is trying to tell a bigger story, but it works best when it's just the blood and guts and vampires.
Yeah, and I think I think one of the marks of a great movie though is that it does work on those multiple layers. That there is, you want to go down this social racial commentary stuff, like that is definitely there if that's what you want. You want kind of a coming of age story, that's definitely here. You want some musical sequences and some visual stunning stuff, that's all there. It's got whatever layer you want. You can go to that depth and stop, and that's kind of a, not every movie can do that.
Yeah, maybe it's a 5-star movie. Have to watch it again and decide.
4.5.
Yeah, I guess we'll be on the next watch, knowing how the movie plays out, knowing the holes that I've seen after 2.5 watches. On the third watch, can I just watch it and enjoy it? Then I might crank it up. What about anything you think they could have done better, or if they did it again, what would you like to see differently?
Nothing we haven't already mentioned. I think building up more of the drama, of the threat of the KKK or whatever. But even then, like I think it's fine as it is. And do you really need a scene building all that more? Would that actually slow it down and make it less steal the momentum that it has?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would have really liked to have seen, like even those flaws I pointed out, that's just being real nitpicky. The one thing I would have liked to have gotten a little more backstory on are the Choctaw vampire hunters.
Yeah, like they're there for like a split second.
Yeah. And does this movie deserve a sequel or a prequel?
Ooh.
If you could only have one, I think I'd rather see the prequel.
Yeah, definitely the prequel, because to know why was he being chased, what's his backstory. They allude to Smoke and Stack being with Capone and them up in Chicago. So those could have been interesting stories to continue to explore.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't even talking about that, but that's a good idea too. I was thinking about the Remick character. That's where I really want to see more.
Okay.
What's his backstory?
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that I think that a prequel could address without it being just filling in holes.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Any closing thoughts on Sinners?
I wanted to mention, because I meant to mention it during kind of like favorite scenes or whatever. There was kind of the Scorsese-esque dolly cam shot of the two markets.
Okay, I don't remember the shot.
But they're in one market, and then he pays them to make the sign, and she like goes to the other store across the street. And I was like, it just kind of follows her along. I'm like, that was kind of a neat moment.
Okay.
It gave the city a little bit of life, a little bit of vibe. You saw that there's a scale to this that we're operating at.
Yeah, and that's kind of when I said things feel authentic. I remember I don't remember the shot, but I remember that sequence, and I like the authenticity that I had.
Yeah.
All right, well then let's close this one out. That's Sinners on Winners, Losers, and Lovers. I'm Brian.
I'm Andrew.
And we'll see you next time. This podcast may include copyrighted material such as film, images, clips, and audio for the purposes of commentary, criticism, review, education, and discussion. All such content is used in accordance with fair use principles under Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act. The materials are presented to provide context analysis and insight, and no infringement is intended. Winners, Losers, and Lovers is produced by Koa Aloha Media and copyrighted in 2026.